Hey, Aaron Fulk, how are you doing?
Hi, Scott Havens. How are you?
Doing wonderful, doing wonderful. You're filming from your office in Waldo, right?
I am. Our very bright office. I keep getting like friends and all sorts of people text me or send me messages from our new, like, we put some signage out there. Um, so it's very noticeable when you drive by 75th and Warnell.
Well, you have a tendency to help things pop. What is new in your world? You've been traveling a lot, right?
Yeah. So just doing stuff. If anybody else is at the end of their children's senior year, it's crazy. There's thing after thing after thing after thing. So we're just doing all the things, the college things and the things. What are you doing? What have you been up to?
Uh,
Trying.
little basketball coaching here and there,
Oh,
on the temper tantrums because they're so 4 and 7. So, not quite there yet.
you know what I did basketball wise this weekend?
What?
This is going to sound way bougier than it is. I'm going to give you guys a trick because I think often my life, I do have a wonderful life, but I think often my life looks even more wonderful because I know tricks. So I'm going to give you a trick. I had floor seats at the Knicks game this weekend.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going to tell you my trick. Okay. So the nice part of knowing these tricks is when you have teenagers, they know all the things. Okay. Now, do they think they know absolutely everything? Yes. But sometimes they do know things. So there is an app called Game Time. Have you gotten this app yet?
No.
If you want to go to an NBA game, you need the Game Time app because the Game Time app it's just like a SeatGeek or something like that, but it's mostly just games. Like it's not concerts, anything like that. But NBA people use it a lot more. And what you can do is you can set it up for notifications. So you get a notification the minute something really good looks if you're looking at a certain something. I don't know why that's doing that. And so the floor seats got put on there. Someone had to get rid of them really quickly. And I was already looking to go to this game. I was going to wait till we got to New York to buy them. And we ended up getting floor seats for like, I mean, I don't want to act like they were free, but they definitely weren't. I didn't pay floor seat pricing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really great. So I went to the Knicks game, which is like you going to basketball game. We both went to basketball games this weekend.
That's right. That's right. I had to work on kids crying before the start of the game because they didn't want to get hit in the head. And you
Well,
know,
and I was sitting kind of close to Chris Rock and Adam Sandler. So it's practically the same thing.
it's the same thing. But, if I were to have used Bestway International, I probably could have gotten to New York. And then if I worked with Evardy, because they donate so much of their profits to charity, I bet I would have gotten free tickets by just being Chris Evan and Brian Hardy's friend. So, I should have used the Evardy Bestway International connection.
But you went to the playoff game, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I
Yes.
was stuck in New York. If you did not watch that game from New York with all the New Yorkers yelling at you, you have not lived yet. You were in a much better place for the playoff game than I was.
I talked with some coworkers throughout the country. One was in Milwaukee. Everyone hates the Chiefs. So it is what it is.
I was one Chiefs. I didn't find the Chiefs bar till fourth quarter, and so I didn't go to it till afterwards. And like full grown men would just walk by me and scream profanities at me. I was watching it at the bar by myself. It was a little kind of scary, to be honest.
It's crazy.
I like Fifth Avenue, but yeah, they were mean. So, but we are going to the Super Bowl. That is so exciting. So we're about to three-peat.
That's right. But no one's here for us. They're here for the guest, right, Aaron?
Well, first we need to know who's here. So if you are watching, please let us know if you're watching Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. Just like our buddy Paul right here that said he's watching from the Chiefs bandwagon. There's plenty of
the best writer for this show. He's a writer. He's a writer. It's
Paul, I think our bandwagon fans have already joined, and everybody else wants to hate us. But they say you are not on top until everybody hates you.
Wow.
So
who wants to be on top then?
Well, they like to lift you up until it's time to tear you down. It's a whole thing, right?
Wow.
So, okay, let us know if you're watching. Here's what's going to be confusing about today's show. Everybody has the same name. Except for you and me.
Yes.
But all has to have the same name. So, are you going to be able to keep up?
Oh, I can. Very easy.
Okay, just making sure because I didn't want this to be hard on you today. So,
No, I know the guess.
It was just a joke, Scott. Just a joke.
Well, usually me being dyslexic, I'm not that bright, and you're the one that runs everything. So I mean,
it was just a joke because they have the same name. I know they're your friends. They're best friends. There's all sorts of stuff going on here. And just a fun fact before we brought him in, this was almost my son's name. I lobbied very hard to name my son this name. And we ended up negotiating on something else, but this was the name that I wanted to name him my child. So that would have been even more interesting. All right, let's play this absolutely. Here. All right. Our first guest today, Jake Edwards, and another Jake, Jake Randall. Stop terrible music. Hi guys, how are ya?
Yeah, we need to work on that intro music.
5 years.
Scott loves it. He loves it.
What's
I took
that?
everything else from him away, so I let him keep the.
She's forgotten about it for 5 years.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to update it. It's like the least important thing, but it's pretty bad, right, Jake Randall?
I'd give it a B+.
I give it a 2 out of 10. All right, guys. Well, let's get started. Last time you were here, Jake Edwards, you've never been with us before. Jake Randall, you've been with us before. Neither one of you have ever been on the clock like you're going to be today. All right. So you're up first, Jake Edwards. Who are you? What do you do? And how do you get to Kansas City?
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, guys. My name is Jake. That is who I am. How I got to Kansas City, this is kind of a funny story. So I came out in the mid-aughts, about 2005, to study seminary. I was in seminary for about 2 weeks, and I had a job opportunity in Illinois. And I decided to drop out of seminary and go to Illinois. But I had never lived in Kansas City. I was born and raised in Indiana. And so I was just kind of in an angsty 22-year-old angsty period, dropped out of seminary, got in my car with all my belongings, going to go back to Illinois. I get on 435. I don't know where I'm going. An hour goes by and I'm still in Kansas City. And I thought I'd be like near Columbia at this point. And I realized I never exited. I just drove around the city. And I really, honestly, have never left. That was it. I had intentions of leaving Kansas City, and I never really got out. And so I've been Kansas Cityan since 2005. That's how I got here. Most of my career up until a couple of years ago was all in ministry of some shape or form. And then I decided I want to help people in a different way. So what I do now is I serve people as a handyman all over the city. I love it. I have some commercial accounts, but mostly residential. And Jake Randall is wearing my company's hat. Thanks, buddy. I would wear mine, but it's very worked in. So anyways, hey, that's me. That's Jake Edwards' story.
Those hats are hot commodities because we'd be wearing them in my household. What would you say is one of your most fulfilling projects that you've done recently on the handyman front?
Yeah, so I had a financial advisor buddy of mine in a networking group. His family is big golfers. And so he had me come out and he's like, we would like to build golf lockers, like locker bays, storage in the garage where him, his wife, and his 2 kids can all have their different bags and hats and shoes and all of that. And so I got to work with him and Jen and dream it, custom build it from start to finish. I drew up the plans and then I did all the work myself. It was really cool. And they love it. And it's really neat to see their whole family have something that I built for them.
We have a question for you. It says, are you bonded and do you have any experience with condos?
Yeah, so I do carry insurance. The handyman thing is interesting in Kansas and Missouri. There are 16 states that require license. Kansas, Missouri is not one of them, so that's nice. But I do have insurance. And yes, I work on condos. Just got an agreement to work on a condo a couple days ago.
Okay, so I guess with that, let's do a follow-up question real quick. Is LinkedIn a good place to reach out to you?
Yeah. So no, it's not. It's not. The best way to reach me is through my cell phone or email, and I'm happy to give that information out whenever the right time is.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Do you have a website?
I do. So the name of my business is called Make It Jakes, and the website is makeitjakeskc.com.
Cool. Okay, I'll throw that up here too.
Yeah, and my contact info is on the website as well. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today. Okay, other Jake. Somebody.
They've been called up.
Real confusing. Yeah, how I got to Kansas City. I followed love. I'm from Flint, Michigan. Don't make any jokes too soon. But me and Jake met in college. I went to college in about an hour south Chicago. That's where me and Jake became best friends. But that's ultimately where I met my wife. She was a townie there. Met her at a coffee shop. Long story. About 14 years ago, 15 years ago. Geez, I sold. I had a coffee shop, and I was working in ministry as well as a worship leader. And quit. Sold the business, and moved to Kansas City really with nothing. Kind of out of love and passion, I guess. So moved here, and yeah, I bouncer. I'm an entrepreneur through and through. So I had an audio video lighting company, and then I got into the corporate world, and so from there, short and sweet. That's how I got to Kansas City.
Now, today, what is your business and what drives revenue?
Ooh, that's a great question. My business is Bridgeview Innovations. So almost going on maybe 2 years almost. Decided to start my own thing again. And what I do is help CEOs and really the C-suite kind of figure out who they are and where they're going. To know where you are is to know where you're going. So I bring clarity, help them with their processes and strategy. And then we really try to execute on technology, SOPs, processes, and just kind of help them navigate through that journey. So.
Yeah, I always try to say when people have a lot of different revenue streams or sales coming in, you kind of help everyone organize their cabinets and help figure out how things are going. So like when you have people that, like people reach out to the website and you're Jake Edwards and you may not be checking that website that much. How do you help the client recognize that revenue and get in touch with them?
And do you have a website? I'm trying to look for yours too.
It's getting redone right now as we speak. So it's hopefully going to be back up in about 2 weeks. So,
okay.
Bridgeviewinnovations.com should be up here real shortly. Ask that question again, Scott. You lost me a little bit.
The thing I love about introducing your business is when people need to track down their sales to bring them over the goal line.
Yeah. Ultimately, the idea at the end of the day is if I can get companies to take a step back and take a deep breath and figure out who they are, what is their story, what are their targets, who are we going after and why, and then how are we going to go to war and how are we going to execute on those things and clearly define those. And I help really just navigate that and bring clarity to those processes at the end of the day. At the end, the result is the customer is the hero. And then the end result is you got better revenue and better growth.
Real quick, what size businesses are you helping? Do you have kind of a business size you focus on?
That's a great, thanks for, yes. I mean, pretty much 50 million below. I love the service industry. Like Jake, I love, whether it be, I've helped plastering companies, stucco companies, HVAC companies, signage companies, low voltage electrical companies, some in the manufacturing space. So that's pretty much anything really under 50 million is kind of my sweet spot, with the caveat of kind of a service industry.
Cool.
Yeah.
Jake Edwards, what is the most pivotal point in your career?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for those watching the show, these questions are given to us ahead of time, which I greatly appreciate it. Did I just let the cat out the bag?
No, who knows?
No. So, yeah, I mean, the best way I can answer this is the most pivotal thing that's happened in my career is I have failed. And I think I'm on the front end of that, to be honest with you. I would Others may say it differently, but I would say that I hit pretty much rock bottom about 2 years ago. And so this is when everything from what I thought I was going to do and contribute to the world as a professional switched. It stopped making sense to me. So a quick way to kind of give context around that. So I was raised in the ministry. My dad was a pastor. I went to undergraduate for ministry. That's actually where I met Jake Randall. And then, I went to seminary, did that whole thing. I've pastored churches. I've been in youth ministry. I've worked in the missions at ministerial colleges. That's for 40 years. It was all ministry. And then it just stopped making sense to me. And I had also wrapped my personal goals in a ton of ambition. I think ambition isn't always a bad thing, but left unchecked, it can really catch up to you. And I had a lot of it. And I was chasing greatness in a field of ministry, which I hit a moment and I looked at that and I thought, how crazy is that? That if what I want to do is make this large, big impact and I want to do that through that vertical, through ministry, I've lost sight of what it is that's even supposed to be about. That and some other things behind closed doors that I just began to say, no, I don't think this is me. I think I have shaped my whole growing up life to fit in something I recognized at home as a kid. And I'm not sure that's me. And I just pumped the brakes on all the things I was involved in. I was speaking all over the country. I was involved with publishers and writing curriculum and working on some books. And I was involved in lots of different things in the area. And I just said, I can't do this anymore. I don't know who I am in the midst of it. And so just like that, I walked away from anything that was income producing at 40 years old. That is not a great time to make that decision. And so it has felt like failure because I have had to start from the beginning. And I know I'm running out of time, but I'll make this real quick. When you're trying to reinvent yourself as a 40-year-old and you try to advertise yourself out into the business community and all you have in your resume is ministry, it is very, very difficult. And so at some point, I just took a bet on myself. I didn't want to start at entry-level positions all over again and do so. I wanted to take a bet on me. And so I launched Make It Jake's Handyman Services. And I hope that wasn't too convoluted. But there you go.
I want to give you some names really fast.
Yeah.
Founder of McDonald's, Ray Kroc, Vera Wang, Martha Stewart, Samuel L. Jackson, Eric Wan, who is the founder of Zoom, Toni Morrison, and Colonel Sanders all started after 40.
After 40?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could spend a whole show to be wildly popular asking you more questions, but thank goodness we're friends, so I can go. But Jake, I do really appreciate you sharing, and I am so with Aaron on what you just said.
Because I think, so I do a lot around this. I started my business at 36, but I'm at 45 and my business is changing a lot. So I do a lot of content on TikTok around this. You would be surprised if you really start to deep dive of how 40, like post 40 is really that success stuff, right? Because now you have all those other lessons of things you didn't even know you were learning about business. And post 40 is when people really start to do well. So you're right on time.
And I feel all of that. Oh, thank you. Thank you for the encouragement.
Absolutely. All right, Scott.
Jake Randall, what is the most pivotal point in your career?
That's a hard, I think Jake was saying it's really hard to answer, but I'm going to tag on to Jake here a little bit, because here's a pivotal moment for me. This happened about right when I started my business, because I started as really a fractional business development. And it's really hard to go into companies. And the reality is that I learned, not just with people I was working with, but a lot of conversations with CEOs. And I want to be careful here because I don't want to be too blunt, but what I realized is, and this is pivotal, and it's okay that we need to talk about it, is that CEOs don't have all the answers. actually a lot of CEOs that I know are kind of they're faking it to make it, because they're still trying to figure it out. And they're bottled with fear sometimes, and they're bottled with angst, and they're trying new things, and they're trying to make sure their employees are happy and their customers are the heroes. And there's a lot there. And finally, when I walked in, because I felt that, as you know, I've owned a lot of companies, and you feel so alone. And what I realized is the best leaders out there, and the people that are actually doing some awesome things, are the ones that are okay to ask for help. And they're the ones that they're the ones that say, okay, I don't have all the answers, and I'm kind of tired of trying to figure this all myself, and I need somebody to lean on. I need somebody to like maybe help me navigate the waters a little bit. And so what for me was pivotal in my career about a year and a half ago was that, man, there's a lot more business leaders and CEOs and presidents out there that if you kind of get in the moment with them, they're pretty honest to tell them about like, hey, I don't really have all this figured out. I grew up my whole life looking up to these CEOs going, they must have it all figured out, right? They got to the top, they're running companies, they're doing all these things. But the reality is if we could all kind of find a place of vulnerability and honesty within the chaos, that's actually what's beautiful about business and about growth. And that's where I love to find myself in the moments where I can come in and have a seat at the table. And I feel more confident now knowing that not everyone has the answer. So it was so pivotal for me for my insecurity. I still have what's the word? Like trying to figure out like, do I really can help? Can I really do this? But it gives me confidence, and it gives me a sense of encouragement to know that I can walk into a room and talk to CEOs, talk to presidents, talk to boards, and knowing that like, if we're all honest, we're all still trying to all figure it out. So, and I think one of the reasons why you have this show is because we're all still trying to figure it out. So it was just it was a big light bulb for me about a year and a half ago that I don't have to have it all figured out. So.
Absolutely. My favorite person in any meeting is the person that says, I don't get that. Can you explain it? And then it's the people that never ask the question. You're like, do you even know anything we just talked about? And, but yeah, the best person at every meeting is the one that doesn't know the answer.
Yeah.
All right, first Jake Edwards.
By the way, they're used to that this terminology.
Yeah, but the other way around. So this is just fantastic. I'm loving it.
Nice.
Pour it on, Randall. You're in second place. Go ahead.
Let's go.
Okay, Jake, number one. What are your 2025 goals, and how can the Kansas City community help you get there?
Yeah. So this is what I've got here is a real small business, and I'm the one-man show. And so I'm going to give numbers because I think when you have goals, it's best to have some numbers around them. But you're watching this and you're probably going to laugh because these are going to sound real small to you, but they represent massive growth for me. So here are my 3 top goals for 2025. I want to serve 300 customers in this calendar year. January was good, a little slow. So I'm a little bit behind that. I need February and March to catch up, and I think that I will. So I want to serve 300 customers. I want to create 15 pieces of unique content for my social media accounts. And I want to grow my realtor network. Working with realtors, especially as a handyman, is super helpful, either getting homes ready to sell or coming in after homes have sold and knocking out punch lists. So I want to grow my realtor connections to 10. So there you go. Can you refer me? I want to grow my network to 300 people or 300 customers. I want to post 15 pieces of unique content, and I want to grow my realtor network to 10.
Awesome.
Do you find, one, that's amazing, you have your goals that are put out. Is the real estate community open to people in your business?
Yeah. So what I'm finding now is a lot of them already have folks they work with. And so the warm introductions and getting to know folks and really, once you're working with people, especially in that line of work, you don't really want to take a risk. You want to know that someone's going to come in and they say they're going to change a light bulb. They know how to change a light bulb, right? That's a simple task, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And so, yes, handyman and realtors, they go together really well, but breaking into that, you've got to kind of like really earn their trust and get to know folks. And so since I'm so new, that's why it's pivotal that I get in front of a few folks and get my name out there.
Are you using, have you put yourself on any of those softwares to start, like to keep yourself going, like the Next Doors or the
yeah, absolutely,
or anything like that?
Yeah. So here's some crazy stats for you, because I'm doing all year-end stuff or catching up to it all. But I use Thumbtack. Thumbtack is the lead generation software the main one that I use. In 2024, 60% of my leads came through Thumbtack and 30% were through just personal network and other stuff. Okay. So I've leaned on it pretty heavily. So far in 2025, that number is 96%. So I think I've had like 20 jobs in January. 19 have come through Thumbtack.
Nice. You should look at TaskRabbit too. That's the one I use for a lot of stuff.
They are the same company, I believe.
Oh, are they?
They're owned by the same parent company, so they're very similar. Yeah.
That makes sense. Those companies always buy each other out, right? All right. And I'm going to do an intro for you, so look for that in your email. All right. Just a woman that knows every realtor in town. All right, Jake, number 2. I'm just doing that now to pick on you.
My goals are pretty simple. I have a few contracts that are wrapping up and kind of coming to an end, which, as anyone knows in that world, it's feast or famine, right? So you get real scared real quick of, oh man, hopefully there's something down the road. Here's my 2 goals for 2025. One is to put myself out there more and share my story more. Because I just, they say it's, paralysis by analysis, is that I overthink things and I don't tell my story. I don't share a lot because, either I'm scared or I just don't know. So one is just to kind of put my story out there more, share some really cool things, really get out networking again. Me and Aaron were talking this with kids and with life, you just kind of I just pulled back in 2024. And so that's one, but 2 is to land 2 new solid contracts this year is really my big goal. Finding service companies again, who they know they have potential to grow. They might not have the systems, the CRMs, the rev ops in place. They want to really strategize on their story, how they can differentiate themselves, who they're going after, and really define some of those things. And I'm just really looking, again, intros or any of that stuff with people out there who might know some of those companies that could really just use kind of a partner, somebody to lean on, and to help kind of grow their sales and strategy. So, yeah.
So what does getting out there look like? How does, for the audience, what do people need to do to just start the process?
One is, there's so many amazing network groups out there. You throw a coin and somebody's throwing some type of network or event or something. The reality is, I can't tell you how many times, and we've all been there, is I get my shoes on and get my jacket on and I just decide not to go. You know what I mean? You're just like, not today. I just don't want to do it today. So just getting out there, getting your coffee set up again, getting on a schedule to make sure you're reaching out, be a help to other people versus just try to put yourself out there a little bit more, and put it as a priority, versus it's the way I look like it as an investments. I don't look at it as look at it as a bill. And same thing with networking. You just got to put them on the calendar, get it done, be consistent with it. Don't be afraid to reach out, ask for coffees, be a part of some awesome communities, reach out to people you haven't, me and Aaron were talking. Me and her haven't hung out in probably a year and a half to 2 years.
That'll be our first one. We'll do that.
So it's just getting back into that. And so I don't know if that really answered your question.
Just being a Scott Havens. All right, listen, guys, we're right on time because we never go even hit time. So this was amazing. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Stay on until we're not live anymore. Thank you, Scott, for being the best co-host ever. Thank you so much to Bestway International and Evardy Construction for sponsoring and allowing us to bring awesome stories like this to you. We will see you same time, same place next week. Bye, guys.